What if every closed door wasn't a rejection, but a redirection? And how would thinking of it this way change your perspective and keep you moving forward? Rejection stings, but every no is just a course correction towards something better. Those doors that close, they are just guiding you towards the ones that you were meant for. And no, it isn't the end. It's just feedback. And the people that we see as the most successful aren't people who have never been rejected. They're just the ones that have already moved through the process of trying all of those doors. And even now, I'm sure that they still use rejection as a tool to refine their path, as we all should. If you're anything like me and you're interested in keeping yourself balanced while you go through the mental gymnastics of not being able to find that door that wants to open for you, and you are self-aware and want to do that as level-headed as you can, then by the end of this discussion, we'll have considered a whole new way to see rejection, one where we no longer see it as a setback, but as an essential part of our forthcoming success. If you don't know, my name's Chad Joshua, and I am working towards writing a 100-song catalog. I write songs about populism, freedom, and liberty. And this is my artist channel, which I use to promote those songs. In my free time, I like to have these discussions to consider the ideas that may better lend to efficiency in our effort to turn our goals into accomplishments. And today I thought it would be interesting to ask the question about the advantage of thinking of closed doors as redirections to something better, and how that change of mindset may contribute to our effort. Because how many successful people that you can think of faced massive rejection before making it big? If you're getting rejected, it means that you're trying, and trying coupled together with assessment and refinement creates opportunity. It's like weightlifting. All of the resistance, the pushback builds strength. Can't get stronger, get to the position that you want without it. People who avoid rejection also avoid opportunities. And when we stop looking at rejection and boxing ourselves into an idea that we're on the wrong path because of it, and we start recognizing that it is acknowledging that you are in the game. And if every person that's come before who's ever made their way to a substantial success has run that very same gauntlet, then good on you for being in the game, because the only way that you can guarantee failure is by not trying, is by avoiding that rejection. So how would your confidence shift if you started to see it this way? If you started to see rejection as part of the process and not as finite failure? For me, in my effort to write all of these songs and widen my reach, or to be able to share songs with a wider audience, I've had to try all sorts of strategies, and it is a brutal process. It has a way of being demoralizing. It's constantly sweeping the legs out. You see someone trying some new trending strategy and you feel this fear of missing out, until eventually it becomes so overwhelming you have to lean into that. I've gone through this process over and over. Sometimes you have to answer the question for yourself to see, will this door open for me too? And maybe it will, maybe it won't. Right now, at the time we're having this conversation, I'm working to finish a challenge that I'd given myself. I decided that I wanted to make topic videos and make a series of them, and I set out on a goal of making 60. I had intended to make one every day, but during the holidays I did get bumped off that schedule a bit. I recovered right after that, and then in an effort to get the whole thing over with, I decided to go hardcore. And while it's not exactly completed just yet, tomorrow I will be having myself a celebration. But you might be thinking, Chad, what good did it do you? Your knee's about to break off, your back feels like a grandpa. What did all of this get you? And I get it, I get what you're saying, but we have to choose how we see the world. Glass half empty, glass half full. Over the summer, I saw all of these people just rocket with these discussion videos, and at the time, I was really feeling beaten up by all of the attempts that I had been making otherwise, and I thought it would be an interesting way to have these kind of discussions and be able to showcase my effort working towards my goals as a way to share camaraderie and encouragement for other people that might be striving to do something or wanting to get up and go. So I just thought it would be something that if I didn't do it, I would wonder what would have happened. And so I made the decision to see. I looked at the other people who I saw having the doors opening for them. It seemed to me that about 60 videos in, they were getting feedback. So I set the goal of 60. And at the time that I'm wrapping this process up for myself, admittedly, I've been taken too far away from the time that I need to be in their craft and music and that. But at this point, I'm just trying to push to get it wrapped up. And the results are that no, this door did not open up for me in the same way that I saw it open for others. Why exactly? I have no idea. I made the same quality content, kept the same schedule, and maintained high level attention to detail. But unlike the others who were able to make this work for themselves, who saw growth in subscriber count by thousands and thousands, I have seen growth in the tens of tens. And each of you dear souls that have appreciated my effort enough to subscribe, I can't thank you enough. And I don't discount any single one of you by making the comparison that I just had to in order to demonstrate this attempt that I have made as a vehicle for growing my reach to better tell the story of what it is that I'm trying to do. It hasn't been as successful in that way for me as it has been for those others. So what do I do with that? You know, as the point of this discussion today is to talk about how we look at rejection. And the first thing I want to do is acknowledge the fact that personally, I've gotten a lot better at managing this part of things. I sort of knew a few weeks ago that it wasn't working out in the way that I'd seen it work out for the others. But rather than quit, I wanted to stick to my commitment of completing this. I started to see that there were all sort of takeaways that I've begun to have benefit of. The first is this idea of fear of missing out. And I know that it isn't something that we should give over to or give into. You could argue that that was an error. But at the beginning, I didn't have a clear direction of how to go about doing what I was doing anyway. So it was something to do something. And the second part of that was at the early part of the last year, there were just so many people that were getting on. And then 5 or 6 weeks, they were hitting 1,000 subscribers and getting their channels monetized. And then these people started to do these discussion videos where they could just sort of vlog and talk about what they wanted to. And I thought that's a really good way for me to connect personally to people. And the fact that their growth was so massive that there was no way that I would be able to live with myself wondering what would have happened if I would have just committed to 60 days making those videos. What if it would have paid out? And what if the community would have built by the thousands and thousands? In some cases, I saw people moving from 0 to 10,000 in 2 months. So the whole thing just got too big in your face that I knew that if I didn't try, I would always, for the rest of my life, if I didn't succeed another way, think back and say, why didn't you try that? You could have probably worked. So that all said, the very first and most important benefit is I tried it and it didn't work in that way. And that answer, that feedback gives me the peace of mind that I need about this as an opportunity, and that while I did everything that I could, it wasn't the door. So there's no walking away feeling like, what if I would have did that? Would have, should have, could have. I did it. I know the outcome. So benefit number one. Benefit number two, I hadn't fully committed to making videos in a serious way. And when you spend 60 days making a video every day, real quick get right up to speed with what it takes to do that. Going into this process, I knew that would be the case. I just didn't know what it meant. And in these past 2 weeks where I've been doing 2 in a day, really been able to get myself up to speed with the intensity that it takes to do that. The most important thing in that was that it really is about just turning your thinking off. You know, you think so much about what you want to do and what's comfortable. But the only way that you do something like this is to literally wake up, grab the thing and get outside, come home, edit, prepare for the next day. So benefit number two, better understanding how to turn off the thinking and lean in. Benefit number three, somewhere inside of the process, my outlook and perspective about YouTube and the idea of being a YouTuber changed from one where I hadn't been fully committed to where I had seen myself as a person who does YouTube, or as they say, YouTuber, to having had a perspective shift where I see myself now as a content creator, as a YouTuber, as somebody who is fully committed, who has jumped into the trenches of it. The benefit number three, the perspective change that comes with commitment. Benefit number four, all of this content that I created it's all evergreen content. It's all helpful and encouraging, and will be on YouTube and the internet for as long as YouTube and the internet exists. All of that provides me with something to fill up my channel with. It makes my homepage feel all the more professional and organized. Benefit number four, an organized, professional channel filled with evergreen content. Benefit number five, all of that effort has only served to strengthen my resolve, my grit, determination towards finding the way that this will all work for me. I'm more determined now than I was before I set out on the challenge. I am armed with a deeper understanding, informed with insight, what it is I'm trying to do, very mechanism of YouTube and how it works, and a better idea of what exactly YouTube is and the algorithm that it is than I had before, and just a little bit of joy in my heart that I can get back to writing the songs now. So hopefully this recount of my experience will be something of a service to you and in a form of encouragement that no matter what it is that you're trying to do, regardless of how it works out, whether the door opens or not, all sorts of benefits and takeaways from the doing that can only get by making a go of it. And if one door closes, just as it is for me, you have to just pick up, get on to the next. While you do that, make sure you keep your head up. I'm going to keep my head up. Haven't had a chance to listen to my new song. You can hear it there. We'll talk again soon.